Next, we have your purified nutritional supplements. Examples include CoQ, ubiquinone, glucosamine, and melatonin. All right, so let's start with coenzyme Q10. So ako si Q10. Para akong baterya ng muscle mo. Diba? AI sa Instagram nyo. Anyhow, so coenzyme Q10 is a mitochondrial electron transport chain cofactor responsible for cellular energy production. So nakikita siya sa electron transport chain. Okay? And isa siya sa mga tagadala ng electrons, no? Tagapasa ng electrons from one complex to another complex. So yung muscles, kailangan niya to. Okay? So it is particularly abundant in high energy tissues like the heart and skeletal muscle. Clinically, it will function like the battery or power generator of the cell. Okay? So CoQ10 para siyang baterya ng myocyte or ng mga cell natin. And kailangan na kailangan to ng muscle, no? Because your muscle needs energy for contraction, right? So CoQ10, co-power 10, mnemonic lang. So for cofactor or coenzyme, and then power production. Ano pa? Pinilit yung mnemonic. Anyway, so these are the other names of CoQ10. It is also called ubiquinone or ubiquinol, depende sa oxidation state niya. Again, functions as a carrier during your electron transfer sa electron transport chain. And it can also function as an antioxidant. And it protects your mitochondrial membrane. Okay, so CoQ10. Recall lang from your biochemistry, this is your electron transport chain. In ETC, you are encashing your checks. No? Yung mga check NADH and FADH2. So para kang pumunta sa bangko, pa-encash po. So these are your bank tellers, namely complex 1, complex 2, complex 3, may complex 4 pa, and finally your ATP synthase, that's your ATM machine. Diyan nalalabas yung pera. But the goal is to encash your check, to encash your NADH and FADH2 to become peso. Right? So coupled sila. Electron transport chain and oxidative level phosphorylation. Coupled sila. No? If you uncouple that, hindi ka makaka-withdraw ng pera. So ETC, yung bank tellers lang yan. And OP, ito yung pag-yield na ng pera, no? Pag-encash na mismo. Again, this is your electron transport chain. It's found where? At the inner mitochondrial membrane. So IMM, ha? So recall your check, NADH. Ipapasa kay complex 1 yung electron, pa-encash po. Complex 1 will stay there. Okay, hindi siya gumagalaw. Ano sasabihin ni complex 1? Pakipasa ang electron kay complex 3. Diba? 1, 3. And the carrier that transferred or transported your electron from complex 1 to 3 is sino? Hulaan mo. Si ubiquinone. Yan, ubiquinone. Right? Tingnan mo si ubiquinone, it's a lipid soluble. Yan. Kaya dun siya embedded din siya sa bilayer mo. And dala-dalawa electrons ang dinadala niya, no? Aside from picking up electrons from complex 1, he also picks up electrons from complex 2. And sino naman ang cheque na pinapasa kay complex 2? It's FADH2. Recall lang from your biochem. And di ba, pag napasahan ka ng electron, lalabasan ka ng protons dyan. Okay? So, electron transport chain. And pag napasahan ka ng electrons, lalabasan ka ng protons, and that protons will drive this ATM machine to work para magkapera ka. Okay? Yung gasolina, speaking of gasolina, napakamahal ng gas ngayon, the gas or gasoline that drives this machine to work is your proton, no? Or your H+, yung proton motive force. Again, so pa-encash po. Okay, may dala-dala ako electrons. I am a reducing equivalent. Ipapasa ko yung electrons dito. And the rule is, if napasahan ka ng electron, lalabasan ka ng protons or yung H+. And sabi ni complex 1, yung bank teller 1, pa-encash daw. Oh, sino tong, meron kang, alam mo yung sa bangko, may nakaupo lang yung bank tellers, tapos may inutusan silang boy na, lipat mo nga to kay bank teller number 3. Yan. Ito si mobile electron carrier. Isa doon ay si ubiquinone. Pa-encash daw po. So, pinasa kay complex 3, lalabasan na naman si complex 3 ng protons. Then, another mobile carrier sits here, pero nasa may polar area siya. This is cytochrome C, no? And it carries electron 1 at a time. Ubiquinone kasi 2 at a time. So, ubiquinone cytochrome C will carry the electrons, ipapasa kay complex 4. Okay? Pero dalawa lang, pag napasa ng electron, dalawa lang ang lalabas na protons. Whereas the other two, ni-receive ni oxygen, which is the final electron acceptor. So oxygen, pag nag-gain ng electron, nare-reduce siya into, gain electron reduced into water. Ito yung pangalawang H, or dalawang H+. Okay? So yung mga protons na yan, dahil mas marami na sa labas compared inside, may gradient. So that gradient, anong gustong gawin ni protons? Bumalik sa loob. Kasi medyo imbalance na sila. So that gradient, or yung tinatawag na proton motive force, or electrochemical gradient, this will drive the ATM machine or the ATP synthase or complex 5 to work. Alright? So dahil marami ng protons dito, babalik sila through ATP synthase. And yung pagdaan dito, yun yung magdadrive sa machine to work. And pag bumalik yan, yung mga protons bumabalik, ADP will become piso ATP. Alright? Bakit, Dok, hindi makabalik na lang dito sa membrane? Because the IMM, inner mitochondrial membrane, is impermeable to protons. Pag naging permeable yan, naging leaky yung membrane mo, hindi nagagana to. Ba't pa kami dadaan dyan? Dito na lang, no? So, yung mechanism ng uncouplers sa biochem. Okay? Kaya nga important ang biochem physio sa pharma. Anyway, so ito yung concern natin, si ubiquinone. Look at his role. So, tagadala siya ng electrons from complex 1 or complex 2 papuntang complex 3. Okay? So, ano yung role niya? Important din. Important din. Ito si ubiquinone. Then from complex 3, sorry, bumalik siya sa complex 1. NADH, pa-encash. Okay? Pinasa electron, nalabasan ng proton. Then, dinala ni ubiquinone yung electrons, yung dalawang electrons, pinasa kay complex 3. Then from complex 3, pipick up ni, kita mo, nasa polar side C, cytochrome C. One at a time. Alright? So QC ang mnemonic natin sa biochem, di ba? Ubiquinone muna before cytochrome C. Again, it occurs here at the inner mitochondrial membrane. So it's for energy generation, no? Para magkaroon ka ng proton motive force dito that can drive the ATM machine or the ATP synthase to work. Okay? Very important. Recall lang yan, si ubiquinone. Ubiquinone or CoQ10. So important siya, lalo na sa mga energy requiring cells such as your myocyte. Very important ang ATP sa muscle, di ba? Ano nga bang role ng ATP sa muscle? Sa power stroke ba yan? O, balikan nyo sa physio. Anyway. Okay. So CoQ10 works in the mitochondrial electron transport chain to generate ATP. It also acts as an antioxidant and improves endothelial nitric oxide signaling. Nitric oxide for vasodilation, di ba? Yan. So aside from katulong siya doon, yung isa sa mga kargador ba tawag doon? Tagadala ng electrons from bank teller 1 to 3, may antioxidant effect pa siya and vasodilatory effect pa siya. Okay? So whatever thing that can decrease or bababa ang CoQ10, affected ang energy production ng muscle mo. Alright? Tulad ng statins. Pag naka-statin ka kasi, inhibit niya yung HR, HMG-CoA reductase, yung mevalonate pathway, isa sa mga steps na ma-inhibit niyan, yung production ng ubiquinone, wala kang CoQ10, myopathy ka, okay? Myositis. Okay? So kapag naka-statin, less ang CoQ10 mo, pwede ka magkaroon ng muscle symptoms. Alright. Low CoQ10 is associated with kapag naka-statin si patient and in those with heart failure. Mababa yung CoQ10 nila in some studies. So saan beneficial or saan pwedeng gamitin ng CoQ10? So CoQ10 is used mainly as an adjunct. Adjunct. Okay, supplementary lang. Optional. Hindi siya for treatment ng ng cardiovascular diseases. Because in some studies, it may slightly reduce your BP, your blood pressure, and support myocardial energy production in heart failure. Ayan, may mild BP reduction siya. Bababa ang BP mo konting-konti lang. And sa mga may heart failure, ito yung possible benefits niya. Okay? Support myocardial. Di ba may muscle din ng heart, myocardium. It will support myocardial energy production in patients with heart failure. Another common indication is statin-associated muscle symptoms or yung SIM, statin-induced myopathy. Pero yung evidence niyan medyo inconsistent pa. Okay? Recall nyo sa dyslipidemia pharma lectures nyo, bakit ang statins magkakos ng myositis or myopathy pag nasobrahan. Alright? Because it blocks again the HMG-CoA reductase. Tapos wala kang subsequent steps such as IPP, ubiquinone production, yung ubiquinone kailangan mo as electron transport chain. Electron transport chain kailangan ng muscle. O, di yung muscle mo, yari. Okay? Anyway. But you have to check, no? If the benefits will outweigh the risk, of course, you have to take your statin. Ano pa? Kailangan lang tama yung dose para hindi ka umabot sa SIM, no? So again, CoQ10, energy support for a failing heart. Okay, pero modest lang ang studies. Okay. Ano pa? So the typical clinical dose for ubiquinone ranges from 100 to 600 milligrams per day. Okay? So CoQ10 is generally very safe with mild GI side effects. Ano pa? Yung CoQ10, medyo kamukha niya si vitamin K. Okay? Resembles vitamin K. Sino ba kalaban ni vitamin K? Si warfarin. So medyo kakalabanin niya si warfarin. So it will reduce your warfarin effect. Warfarin, anticoagulant. Nawala ang anticoagulant. Exaggerate nyo nawala ang anticoagulant. Ano ka? Procoagulation. So thrombosis. Magpo-form ng thrombus. Yun lang. So ingat-ingat. Di ka pwede magpa-CoQ10 sa patient na naka-warfarin. Right? Kasi mawawala ang effect ng warfarin. So kung may atrial fibrillation si patient, nag-fibrillate yung atria niya, kaya naka-warfarin, anong gagawin natin? Para hindi magka-clot doon, nag-CoQ10 ka as a patient. Imbis na mawala yung, hindi tumubo yung clot doon, na-decrease, bumaba ang effect ni warfarin, magkaka-clot na doon sa may bandang atria, tapos pwedeng tumalsik yun. Okay? And cause stroke. So, ingat lang. Bawal, CoQ10, kamukha ni K. Palitan yung spelling, no? Letter K na lang. CoQ10, because it resembles vitamin K, so antagonizes your warfarin. What's the antidote for warfarin overdose? Alamin nyo. Okay? During your pharma vitamins lecture, dapat naturo yan. Anyway. Yun naman yung side effects niya. Again, pag naka-warfarin, pwede siya mag-bleed. Pag too much CoQ10 ka. Alright? Kasi anticoagulant, pwede mag-bleed. Again, so warfarin, anticoagulant, pag naka-CoQ10 ka, resembles vitamin K, kakalabanin niya si warfarin. Mag-coagulate naman. Nalito ko dito sa picture kasi ni Korean. Anyway. Next, ako si glucosamine. Okay sa iyong arthritis, the joke. So glucosamine, tingnan natin kung okay ba talaga to sa arthritis and which form of arthritis will benefit from taking glucosamine. Is it knee arthritis, hand arthritis? So you have to listen well. Okay? So glucosamine, para siyang semento. Cement for cartilage. So it supplies building blocks for cartilage repair. Okay? Glucosamine supports joints. Sa aming joints. And if you're gonna use glucosamine, choose glucosamine sulfate. Huwag yung glucosamine hydrochloride. Glucosamine sulfate. Okay, so glucosamine is a substrate used to produce GAGs or your glycosaminoglycans and PG, your proteoglycans, in articular cartilage. So kapag may osteoarthritis ka, cartilage breakdown exceeds repair. Kasi di ba may nagbi-build ng cartilage mo, may nagde-destroy. Kaya lang kapag may arthritis, osteoarthritis ka, mas mabilis yung pag-destroy compared sa pag-build. Jadi para bumilis yung pag-build, supply natin ng substrate or ng substrate, which is yung glucosamine. So yun yung idea nila. Okay? So glucosamine theoretically provides building blocks to maintain cartilage structure. Yan. Saan siya galing? So, derived from shellfish. So, ingat-ingat kapag may shellfish allergy yung pasyente mo, bawal or iwasan. Baka mag-anaphylaxis, etc. Kasi galing nga sa shellfish ng glucosamine na nasa stores. Right, what else? Mainly used for knee osteoarthritis. Tingnan natin kung yung studies ay beneficial nga ba talaga sa mga may knee osteoarthritis like your tita na obese. So these are the clinical effects of glucosamine. For a while. So, glucosamine is mainly used for knee osteoarthritis, but it's important to emphasize that glucosamine does not act like an NSAID. Wala siyang pain relieving property. Okay, it doesn't provide immediate pain relief. Okay, so any benefit occurs slowly over 1 to 2 months, and the overall clinical benefit is modest. Ang glucosamine, hindi porket uminom si tita today, okay na, ma-alleviate yung arthritis niya. No, it doesn't work that way. 1 to 2 months pa bago mag-take effect. Kung may benefit nga, Yan. And wala siyang pain relieving property. Tapos yung benefits niya, very minimal, modest, variable. So many guidelines do not strongly recommend it as of this lecture. As of, ano bang date ngayon? Kung anong petsa ngayon. Next, the standard dose used in clinical practice is 1.5 grams daily. Yan, laki. 1,500 milligrams per day, either as a single dose or divided into 3 doses. So, tatlong 500 milligrams. Dami nun. Okay? Imagine mo, 3 beses ka umiinom ng glucosamine per day. Fortunately, this is well tolerated. Pero ingat lang because glucosamine may increase, tataas na naman yung INR in patients taking warfarin. So it will increase bleeding risk. Warfarin, anti-coag, glucosamine, mas pinapataas yung INR, so pro-bleed siya. Pareho ba? Yung kanina, si CoQ10, pro-bleed o pro-clot? It's di ba napag-usapan na natin? Pro-clot. Glucosamine, pro-bleed. Anyway, and ingat-ingat kapag may shellfish allergy, and you have to monitor if naka-anticoagulants, and you will prescribe this one. No? Next, melatonin. Where's the slide about osteoarthritis? Here it is. Okay, so this is from Australian Therapeutic Guidelines. O, basa. Basahin mo. So, there is lack of evidence to support the use of fish oil, krill oil, glucosamine, and chondroitin, and turmeric for pain relief and improving functions in osteoarthritis. Wala. Kulang ang supporting studies. Hindi siya effective. Okay? Pwedeng effective sa ibang patients, pero kulang nga ang studies. Okay? Lack of evidence. So, a single trial suggests chondroitin sulfate may be of benefit sa hand osteoarthritis. Pero ang topic kasi natin is glucosamine. Anyway, chondroitin sulfate, CCS, pwede sa hand osteoarthritis for pain relief and improving function. Kaso single trial lang yun. Although the combination of glucosamine and chondroitin has been suggested to have a disease-modifying effect in knee osteoarthritis, there is inadequate evidence to support its use for this purpose. So, hindi ko siya ire-reseta. Kasi inadequate evidence eh. Pero ikaw yan, kung lisensya mo nakataya, ikaw bahala. Okay? Pero ingat lang, kapag nag-prescribe ka ng mga gamot or supplements sa patient, it should be backed by studies and guidelines. Okay? So, guidelines are there to support or to guide you. Pero kasi kapag demandahan, di ba? Kung fina-follow mo yung guidelines, medyo panalo ka dun. Pero kung medyo nag-deviate ka sa guidelines, prescribe mo to, tapos nag-allergy siya, may shellfish allergy pala, yari ka. Okay. Pag after 5 years or 10 years, biglang may studies na, several studies that support chondroitin sulfate glucosamine for osteoarthritis of the knee, edi pwede may prescribe. Make sure lang yung studies na yon or yung journals, valid, applicable. So you have to, scrutinize muna or what do you call this? Appraise. Yan. Kasi hindi lahat ng studies, walang bias, valid, etc. Okay, for a while. Next, ako si melatonin. Yan. So, maraming brands ng melatonin. Meron siya sa Sleepacil, Sleepwell, etc. etc. No? Take note of the dose. Sa Sleepacil is just 3 milligrams ang melatonin nila. Sa Pinas, melatonin. Melatonin. Ang bruise ko na ewan. In other countries, it's pronounced as melatonin. No? Ito naman, Nature's Bounty, napakataas, 10 milligrams. Pero ilan ba talaga ang recommended na dose nito per day if you're gonna take it? So we'll check. All right. So melatonin is a hormone produced by the pineal gland that regulates the circadian sleep-wake cycle from your physio. Okay? Its secretion increases in darkness and decreases or lowers with light exposure. So kailangan pag natulog ka, walang ilaw, etc. etc. So clinically, melatonin supplements are commonly used to manage jet lag and insomnia. So melatonin, body's night signal. All right? It tells the brain it's dark, time to sleep na. Okay? Melatonin, night, at night, whatever. You don't need a mnemonic to memorize that. We all know melatonin is for sleep. Peak secretion, 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. So sana tulog ka that time, no? These are the clinical uses. Jet lag, insomnia, delayed sleep phase syndrome, etc. Okay, physiologically, or biochemically, di ba sa biochem na aral nyo, melatonin is derived from the amino acid tryptophan. May indole ring. Diba? Trip mo siya, no? Makatabing matulog. Because the other one is melanin, it's from pare, true love does not exist to Mel. Yeah, this is L-dopa. Anyway, melatonin is from serotonin, which can come from tryptophan if you have B6 and tetrahydrobiopterin as coenzyme. Recall lang from biochem, huh? So if you want some melatonin from natural sources, you eat tryptophan-rich food. Turkey sandwich, milk, yeah. Anyway, melatonin acts on MT1 and MT2 receptors in the SCN or suprachiasmatic nucleus, the brain's circadian clock. Its primary effect is circadian rhythm regulation rather than sedation like benzodiazepine. So, pang-regulate lang ng circadian rhythm mo. Hindi siya pang-sedate. Tinag-aalog lang. Ganyan kayo mag-report no? Tinatagalog nyo lang, di mo kami maluloko. Ang benzos kasi, di ba? Ano nga ba mechanism ng benzo? GABA, frequency, duration, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, melatonin does not act like benzodiazepines. Instead, it resets the biological clock. So, umuupo siya sa MT1 chair and MT2 chairs, which are found where? Suprachiasmatic nucleus. Okay? Pag umupo siya doon, ito si melatonin, umupo siya doon, ma-regulate ang circadian rhythm mo, it will promote sleep onset and improves sleep quality. There's a related drug called Ramelteon. It's a melatonin receptor agonist. If this is melatonin, this is Ramelteon, I can also sit here. Okay, agonist ako. Kaya ko rin umupo sa MT receptors. Okay, so Ramelteon. This is used for insomnia. Wala lang, pineal gland, SCN, chu. Alright. So this is SCN, suprachiasmatic nucleus, whatever. Ramelteon agonist. Okay, FDA approved for the treatment of insomnia. Okay, onset onset insomnia. Targets MT1 and MT2, more potent than melatonin. Onset is more consistent and duration is longer due to the active metabolite. Side effects, sobrang ka naman, no? Dizziness, nausea, changes in mood, fatigue. And nagda-drug-drug interaction. Ramelteon. Melatonin receptor agonist. Umuupo rin sa MT1 and MT2 chairs found in your SCN. Okay? The most common clinical use of melatonin is for jet lag. It works best when taken near bedtime in the new time zone, particularly after crossing multiple time zones. Hindi pwedeng galing ka sa Pinas, pupunta ka ng Hong Kong or Singapore, magme-melatonin ka pa. Malaki ba difference ng time zone na yon? Di naman. So, kailangan at least 5 time zones, no? Doon ka iinom. So, best taken at target bedtime in destination. This is more effective for eastbound travel kaysa sa westbound. Combine with light exposure therapy to reset circadian rhythm faster. So, hindi pwedeng melatonin lang. Okay? Kailangan nagla-light exposure therapy ka para mas mabilis ma-reset ang circadian rhythm mo. Kunyari, nasa Pinas ka, tapos biglang pumunta ka sa Europe or sa US. What else? Benefits for insomnia, lowers your sleep latency, improves sleep quality in some studies, and increases REM or rapid eye movement sleep. Useful in delayed sleep phase disorder and kapag naka-beta blocker induced insomnia ka. Yes, ang beta blocker mo, some of them are lipid soluble, non-polar, nagko-cross sa blood-brain barrier. Kasi pag yung beta blocker mo, umupo dun sa beta receptor sa utak, it can cause insomnia. Alright, so kapag naka-beta blocker ka, magtataka ka, bakit yung makatulog? Beta blocker induced insomnia. Pero yung ibang beta blocker, polar or less lipophilic, less ang insomnia na kinokos nun. Okay? Pre-op anxiety, melatonin can reduce pre-op anxiety. What else? Use of red, orange, and yellow are better for preparing the mind and body for sleep. Kaya sa mga hotel, di ba? Bihira yung super white ang light tulad nito. Anyhow. In darkness, you make more melatonin. So, huwag ka na mag-doom scroll. Walang katapusan yan eh. Kasi, di ba, hindi pa naman nilalagay ni Instagram yung option na walang reels. Ang Instagram sana for uploading photos lang. Eh, kaso, sandamakmak na reels eh, yung madadaanan mo dyan. Di mo papansin, 3 a.m. na. Sayang oras mo. Tapos, kaka-scroll mo, yung blue light, di mo pa binablock, you make less melatonin. Okay? So, melatonin. Typical dose niya is 1 to 5 milligrams before bedtime. So, sleep disorders. So, this is from Katzung. The typical doses range from 1 to 5 milligrams. Kanina, ang taas, diba? 9? Oh, sobra-sobra na yan. Anyway, for jet lag, 0.5 to 5 milligrams at target bedtime. Melatonin is generally safe with mild side effects such as drowsiness or headache. Ako, naka-melatonin ako kagabi, 6 milligrams. 6 milligrams, taas, no? Kaya medyo drowsy ako, etc., etc. Headache, depende sa some brands, yeah, can cause or trigger headaches. Its main role clinically is to reset circadian rhythm and not to act as a sedative. Wala siyang pakialam sa GABA receptors, ha? Alright. Important to, kasi daming patients nagtitake ng melatonin. Ibang usapan kung magnesium glycinate. Doon grabe, tulog ka nga, may vivid dreams ka pa. However, okay kaya sa memory yun. No? Anyway. I mean, di affected ang memory mo pag naka-magnesium glycinate ka, glycine is inhibitory, di ba? Monitor in patients with antihypertensive, sleep medications, and antidepressants. This is from Australian Therapeutic Guidelines. Thank you so much. Sponsor. Thank you so much for giving me access to your TG, Therapeutic Guidelines. Nakakatulong or yeah, it will help lots of patients and students. What about during pregnancy? Can we prescribe melatonin? So according to this therapeutic guideline from Australia, avoid. Okay? Avoid using melatonin in pregnancy. The safety data in humans is lacking. Endogenous melatonin, yung gawa ng katawan mo, hindi yung tinake mo from pharma companies, is known to cross the placenta. So lulusot siya sa placenta, maapektuhan yung baby mo. Alright? And is thought to play a role in development of fetus circadian rhythm. Results from animal studies are mixed, with some indicating reduced birth weight and prolonged gestation. Gusto mo ba mangyari yan? Reduced birth weight. So just avoid, no? Just avoid. What about pag breastfeeding na si mommy? Nanganak na, breastfeed na lang. Pwede, pero use with caution. O, parang bahala ka sa lisensya mo, bahala ka sa buhay mo. Yan. Although endogenous melatonin transfers into breast milk, nagkakross na sa placenta, pupunta pa sa breast milk, the safety of exogenous, yung tinake ni mommy, while breastfeeding is unknown. Consider the advice of melatonin used while breastfeeding in accordance with the blah, blah, blah. All right, for a while. Okay. Mutulo sipon ko kaya I get intermittent breaks. Anyway, so this is delayed sleep-wake phase disorder. Dok, kala ko ba pharma to? Ba't ka nagde-lecture ng ibang topic? Para matuto kayo, ba't ayaw mo ba? Anyway, this is a circadian rhythm disorder in which sleep onset is persistently at least 2 hours later than desired. Meron ako niyan. Resulting in reduced sleep time, trouble waking when required, and daytime sleepiness and dysfunction. As such, the disorder can be misdiagnosed as initial insomnia. People with late chronotypes or your night owls who do not experience daytime sequelae are not considered to have delayed sleep-wake phase disorder. Kailangan, so, humiga ka sa bed, after 2 hours ka pa nakakatulog, kumonte ang sleep duration mo and apektado yung next morning mo. So that's your sleep-wake phase disorder. Disorder nga eh. Pero kapag ayun, late ka rin naman nakakatulog, pero okay ka naman the next day, it's not counted as delayed sleep-wake phase disorder. Okay? So for patients who have delayed sleep-wake phase disorder, you can give this reasonable treatment. No? Melatonin immediate release, pwedeng 0.5 or hanggang 5 milligrams orally 1 hour before desired bedtime. So if you want to sleep at 10, you can take melatonin na immediate release, wag yung sustained. 0.5 to 5 orally or by mouth at 9 p.m. Review within 4 weeks. The optimal duration of therapy is unknown. Next, avoid internet source melatonin because melatonin content is unreliable. Ano pa? Pag nakuha mo na yung desired sleep-wake routine, advise the patient to maintain it by continuing good sleep practices. If the above recommendation is not successful, refer to sleep expert. Kapag bata, refer to pedia muna. Alright? Seek specialist advice. Huwag matakot. Low melatonin dose, 0.5, resembles physiological release. Nire-release ng utak mo. Pag high dose naman, can have hypnotic properties na. Right? Pregnancy and breastfeeding, di ba napag-usapan na natin? Pwede ba? Pag Pregnant? Hindi. Pag breastfeed, bahala ka sa buhay mo. Yun. Kasi wala pa masyadong studies. Insomnia. Insomnia, this is again from Australian Therapeutic Guidelines. So may tiwala ako sa guidelines nila eh. Again, you cannot access that. Bihira ang may access sa Australian Therapeutic Guidelines. So I'm very thankful for them, for giving me access. All right, so what is insomnia? Insomnia is difficulty falling or staying asleep, which results in significant daytime sequelae, such as fatigue, irritability, impaired concentration, and memory and distress. Doc, may impaired memory lang ako, pero wala namang difficulty falling or staying asleep. Hindi insomnia yun. Ang tawag doon, VOVO. De joke lang. VOVO. Joke lang. Anyway, so may daytime sequelae. People with insomnia are more likely to be involved in accidents. So, ang tulog, very important yan, ha? Important sa skin. So, no amount of skincare can, fix your skin if wala kang tulog every day for several years. Important sa health. Important sa brain. So, yeah. People with chronic insomnia, those with established sleep problems, ako yan eh. They take more sick leaves and are at high risk for medical conditions such as cardiovascular diseases, DM, psychiatric disorders, and premature death. Oh my goodness. Kaya di ako nagda-drive. Lagi ako nagpapadrive lang. Because alam kong, I have delayed sleep, wake, phase disorder. Anyway, so what's the recommended sleep time for healthy adults? Healthy adults, ha? Ikakasama, di joke lang. Healthy ka rin naman. Thank you, Lord. So ako ay pasok dito, pero ikaw, diyan ka, di ba? So 7 to 9, 7 to 9, 7 to 8. So 7 to 9 hours of sleep dapat. Pero ang med students, hindi mo sila healthy adult. Joke lang. Anyway, not recommended. Less than 6 or more than 10. Kapag ang tulog mo less than 6 hours or sobra-sobra, pangit yun. Right? Ano pa? Pag hindi ka naman distressed or impaired, you may be receiving adequate sleep. Kahit hindi 7 to 9 hours yan. What else? Although insomnia disorder is formally diagnosed when insomnia symptoms occur 3 or more times a week for at least 3 months, these guidelines take a pragmatic approach to categorize insomnia because these periods of time do not reflect clinical practice. Although all forms of insomnia may be a symptom of depression, late or terminal insomnia is especially indicative of depression. Kapag may terminal insomnia, si patient, hindi yung early wala siyang problema sa onset. Itong mga late or terminal insomnia, yung nakakatulog naman, pero ang bilis na magising, tapos di na nakakatulog ulit. So, you have to screen for depression din. Right? Sino yung mga yan? Usually, mga namatayan, asawa, etc. etc. Next. Basa-basa tayong guidelines. Masaya kaya magbasa ng guidelines. Anyway, pharmacological therapy has limited role in the treatment of insomnia. Alright. Ano pa? So, sa insomnia, actually, ang una mong gagawin, cognitive behavioral therapy. Non-pharmacologic muna. Patients are interested in taking complementary medicine to treat insomnia. Limited evidence suggests that CAM or complementary medicines such as your valerian, chamomile, whatever, are no more effective than placebo for treating insomnia. Oh. So, saan nakikita yung mga chamomile chuchuchu na yan? Dito, sa Sleepasil meron. Although, meron din chamomile tea, ganyan-ganyan. Although these herbs appear to be generally well tolerated or only associated with mild adverse effects, Kava and valerian have very rarely caused liver damage. So, ingat lang. Ang Sleepasil na tinitake ni Doc, minsan may valerian root. So, it can rarely cause liver damage. So, ingat, ha? And merong website sa Australia you can check for further information. So kapag yung tinitreat mo for insomnia, matanda, may dementia, buntis, inpatient, long-term hypnotic use, may tinitake, problem, substance abuse, ingat. Kasi magda-drug-drug interaction siya. Okay? Again, for insomnia in adults, psychological and behavioral interventions effectively treat insomnia and are first line. So huwag ka gamot agad. Okay? Pa-check ka muna and yes, CBT lagi ang first line. Educate and encourage all patients with insomnia to implement good sleep practices. Tagal natin sa insomnia, no? So, for acute insomnia, you recommend relaxation techniques, stimulus control, sleep restriction, and lifestyle interventions. Kapag chronic yung insomnia mo, CBT, okay? Cognitive Behavioral Therapy ang first line. Kapag di pa umubra yung CBT, mag-ano ka na? Pharmacologic. These are the good sleeping practices for adults. Na hindi ko na isa-isahin because di naman to lecture about sleep. Go to bed, avoid lying in bed kung di ka naman matutulog or makikipagtsuktsakan, avoid oversleeping, avoid napping. Kala ko ba di mo di-discuss, Dok? O nga eh. Avoid exposure to bright light, lalo na yung mga cellphone nyo from late evening onwards. Seek exposure to bright light kapag morning para tumino ang circadian rhythm mo. Avoid heavy meals 3 hours before bedtime. So matutulog ka ng 10, ang last meal mo dapat ay 7, tama ba? 7 p.m. So, huwag ka na kumain. Undertake regular daily exercise, pero wag masyado within 3 hours of bedtime. So, kapag matutulog ka ng 10, dapat 7 p.m. wala ka nang, hindi ka na mag-gym-gym. Lahat ng to, hindi ko sinusunod. Kaya siguro sira ang tulog ko. Ensure a quiet, cool, and dark room for sleep. Kailangan malamig and madilim. Bawal ang phone and TV or clock na maliwanag sa bedroom. Avoid sleeping with children or pets. Use comfortable and supportive mattress and pillow. Reserve bedroom for sleep and sex. Avoid stressful, blah, blah, blah. Allocate the earlier evening to reflect pinagagawa mo sa buhay and address your worries. Avoid caffeine after midday kasi medyo matagal ang half-life ng caffeine. Alamin nyo kung 5 hours o 6 hours. So kapag mga 3 p.m. onwards, huwag ka na magkape. Reduce alcohol or avoid alcohol, tobacco, illicit drugs. Ano pa? You can have warm drink before bed. Kaso ihi ka ng ihi dyan. So sana wag diuretic. Warm bath or shower before bed. Kita nyo to? Blue wavelengths of light emitted from computer, TV, or phone. Blue light inhibits melatonin release. O yan from therapeutic guidelines na yan Blue light inhibits melatonin release and will disrupt your sleep. If screens cannot be avoided, kailangan mo talaga kasi nag-aaral ka, you're a med student or reviewing for whatever, blue light filtering glasses or blue light screen filters may reduce the effect of such. So mag-glasses ka na may blue light filter o kaya patungan mo ng screen protector ba tawag doon na may blue light filtering capability ang mga gadgets mo. Ayan lang yung TV, ang laki-laki, hindi pwede. No? Anyhow, what about melatonin for insomnia? Okay, so clinical trial data shows that melatonin may reduce sleep onset time and improve sleep quality in adults with insomnia. So, kunyari, ang sleep onset time mo ay 12 a.m. Pag naka-melatonin, marireduce yun, bababa, magiging 10 p.m. na or 11 p.m. Okay? And may improve ang sleep quality mo. Dito sa clinical trial data. But data are conflicting and the clinical significance of improvements is small. So melatonin is well tolerated, does not have abuse potential unlike your benzos, and reduces hypnotic use. Melatonin does not appear to cause daytime sedation, although high doses may have hypnotic effects. This is from Australian Therapeutic Guidelines. Yung kanina, yung sinabi may possible side effects, that's from your Katzung na latest edition. If magbibigay ka ng melatonin for adults na may insomnia, 2 milligrams. Okay? 1 hour before bedtime. 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. For insomnia na to, kanina kasi is delayed onset. Pero dito ka sa immediate release, kasi yung nasa Pinas, mga immediate release yon 3 milligrams orally at bedtime. So yung kanina na bote na 9 milligrams ang laman, that's too much. Okay, that's too much. All right. Sleep onset or initial insomnia, yung mga hindi ka makatulog agad-agad. So trouble falling asleep, a drug with a short half-life, such as zolpidem or immediate release melatonin may be preferable. Okay? Okay. Kapag naman sleep maintenance or middle insomnia ka, bigla ka nagigising, waking often or for prolonged periods throughout the night, O kaya yung mga late insomnia, yung nakatulog naman pero gising ka kagad tapos wala na. Waking more than 30 minutes before desired wake up time and not returning to sleep. Yan, initial, or middle, or late, blah, 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 blah. Zopiclone na. Modified release melatonin na. Or Suvorexant. Ang problema ni Doc, ito initial. So, trouble falling asleep. Di naman nagigising kalagitnaan, di rin ako, nakaka 8 hours ako, problem ko lang is, ang tagal ko makatulog. So, immediate release. Okay? Or Zolpidem. This is just a recall. Yung pinag-usapan natin, mga supplements that you as medical students should recognize clinically. Naalala nyo, sino yung mga may increase ang bleeding risk? Mga GGG, garlic, ginkgo, ginseng, chuchuchu. Sino ang CYP inducer? St. John's wort. Sino may effect sa warfarin, CoQ10, and glucosamine? Sino is for circadian rhythm? What's your melatonin? Sa ginagamit ang glucosamine? Although pangit, minimal ang supporting studies, osteoarthritis. So you have to ask patients about supplements because herb-drug interactions are common in clinical practice. Tandaan. What else? Bleeding risk herbs, GGG, garlic, ginkgo, ginseng, additive with warfarin or NSAIDs pa yan. CYP inducer na herb, St. John's wort. Okay? What else? Cartilage supplements, Go, glucosamine, Go, osteoarthritis. Sleep and circadian, melatonin. Cardiometabolic supplements include your garlic, lipids. May effects sa lipids and BP. CoQ10, energy, heart, So vibe check. This is your post-test. This is your post-test. I'll add plus. I'll add +1 for those who can answer this. And +1 lang sa major exam nyo. Sa finals. Pharmacology final exam. +1. Sino makasagot nito? What else? Email nyo sa akin. Paunahan. The first 3 students to send me their answers via email will get a +1 for your final exam. Ito naman. So 8 items to, then 9 items to, total of 15 item post-test. Okay? Before prescribing anything, always ask patients about supplements. You have to clarify the product, dose, purpose, possible interactions, and safety for the patient's condition. Many adverse drug interactions in practice occur because supplements were not disclosed. So, tatanungin mo lagi sa PASMED, no? Meron ka po bang iniinom na kahit ano? Gamot, supplement, herbal, kahit ano. Okay? So, always ask about supplements. Hindi nila i-volunteer yung information na yan. But kailangan itanong because it can interact with your drugs, no? Herb-drug interaction. And of course, you have to ask a dose. All right. Thank you for listening or sleeping. Charot. Take care.